Well, hello, y'all. I'm back again. And I'm coloring, but I wanted to talk to you about me. About who I am and why I am this way. Most of you know that I lost my husband a couple of years ago to cancer. And he was an awesome man. He was more than awesome. Yeah, he was gay. And you know, most people, they think marriage is about sex. It isn't. There's more to life than sex. I'm not saying that sex is bad. Hell no, I'm not. Whoops, sorry. But what I am saying is the important things in marriage has to do with love and respect and being kind to one another, having things in common. And Wes and I had a lot in common. We sure did. We both were animal lovers. We both liked to make jewelry. We both liked to dance. I love dancing with him. We were both very open-minded to everything in life. Because life is life. Whether we approve of it or we don't, it really don't matter. Anyway, so I met him in karaoke, and the minute I set eyes on him, I knew that I was in love with him, and I knew that I always will be. I'm not saying that there's no other love out there. There's all kinds of love out there. But I'm saying that I will never, ever want another love like that. We used to go to the American Legion and we'd dance together and he'd sing in their karaoke, and we became very good friends, because of our love for animals and for each other, because he loved me and I loved him. But neither one of us ever told, except for the simple word that you say a lot of times is, oh, I love you. But I mean, neither one of us told each other we loved each other. So, anyway, we became friends, and for years, when one needed, the other one was there for each other. We were always there for each other. I think the whole town knew I was in love with him. I think the whole town knew. Except him. I didn't know how he felt, and I didn't really think that much about it until a few months ago. But he came to me one day and he said, I talked to because he was a dispatcher in the fire department, and he was an EMS or EMT or whatever they call them. And he said, you know, I've been talking to them about you, and I've told them what a great dispatcher you would make. And I thought, would do what? No, not me. He said, come on, just talk to the commander and see what you think. He said, come on, I'll go with you. Okay. I went and I talked to the commander, and I'm going, I don't want to do this. And then the commander says, and Wes will train you. And I thought, ooh, that means more time with him. Okay, sure, I'll do it. Well, I wasn't dispatcher very long. I quit a week before we had a major wildfire that took at least a third of the town out and killed 19 hotshot firefighters. But my poor husband was devastated because he was dispatcher that weekend that all that happened. And Wes had Ziggy and Brian, but he had like about 40 cats. The people just dumped. Pregnant cats, they had their kittens. Wes took care of them. He always took care of them. And we all had to evacuate. He didn't want to leave, just like I didn't want to leave. And they told him there's no choice, you got to go. Well, the only things that he could take with him was Ziggy and Brian. He could not take the cats. So he opened the back and front door, fire going on all around him, and put a lot of water, a lot of food out, and prayed to God that the cats would be safe. And they were. Believe me, they were. But he ended up in Shreveport, and he didn't want to come back to our town because he thought people criticized him and all this. But it wasn't like that. People wanted him to come back. They knew it was not his choice. So after talking to him 1,000,001 times, I convinced him to come back. And we continued our friendship just like it was. You know, I left for a while, but we used to call each other at least once a week. All the time. All the time we called each other's. And I had gone to Oregon and come back. This was in 2016. The fire was in 2013. So this was almost 3 years later. I had come back from Oregon, and someone I knew from the town we lived in called me and said, "Do you know that Wes is in the hospital?" And I said, "No, where? I figured he was in Prescott." "No, he's in the VA in Phoenix." Well, there I was in Phoenix, and I got in my car and hightailed it to the hospital. When I got there, they were just bringing him in a gurney because they had performed some tests on him. And when he saw me, the look in his eyes, I never felt so wonderful in my life, and so appreciated and so loved. Anyway, he told me what the possibilities might be, and I said, "Well, you know, I'm going to come every day until you're ready to leave." And I did. Well, the day that the doctor came in, I was there, and she was going to let him know what the prognosis was. And I was sitting in the chair, and she asked me if I was family, and I said, "No, ma'am." And he said, "Yes, she is. She's my fiance." And I just kind of looked at him like, "Do what?" I'm here, what? I didn't say it. I'm thinking it. So she let him know it was cancer, and it was not good. And he asked her, "Well, can you give me a time limit?" And she said, "No. All I can say is that it isn't going to be long." Oh, Lord. That was rough. Well, she left the room, and he turned to me, and he said, "Will you marry me?" And I went, "What?" He said, "Will you marry me?" I said, "Yes." I wouldn't have hesitated. I said, "Yes." And he said, you know, I love you. I've always loved you. And my dream was always one day to be married and have a home. Well, I don't think his dream included me as a woman, but that was his dream. And he said, marry me. I said, I sure will. He said, well, not at that moment, but later we talked, and he said, you know, you're the only person I trust with Ziggy and Wes and my cats. He had 2, which I have them now. And that's a dog, some people walking by. And I said, Wes, I'll take care of you. He said, Penny, I don't want chemo. I don't want radiation. He used to be a nurse. A hospice nurse of all things, so he knew. He said, I just want to die at home, and I want you there with me. I said, that's the way it's going to be. Exactly that. And that's the way it was. We got married April 17th, and 2.5 months later, he passed away. But those were the best 2.5 months. We shared a lot of laughs and a lot of love. He was sick, but he wanted to take care of me. He'd get up in the morning and make coffee for me. No one ever did that. No one ever made it for me. And I'd say, Wes, you need to be the one that I'm serving, not you serving me. He said, but I want to. That's what it's all about. We serve each other. So the first 2 months, I saw the deterioration. But he always had hope. He always had hope. Maybe. But the last few weeks were not easy, and the last 3 days were unbelievable. But he was home, and he died where he wanted to die at. And I ended up with his loving pets. I had to put Ziggy down, as you all know. But Brian is still around, being Brian. Actually, he's better. And Kent Kitty and Doris Louise are doing great. And we got each other. So if some of you don't like the idea of my being married to a gay man, I'm sorry. I've been married before, and there was never a better man than my husband. I don't care what the sex was like. I don't care any of that. My husband was nothing but pure love. And our love was pure love. There was no love of, trying to think of a word. We just loved each other as 2 people. We weren't expecting nothing out of each other because of it. We just gave. We never took. We gave. All the way to the end. So anyway, guys, my story. Uh-oh, I hear thunder. Probably going to rain again today. There was a drizzle earlier. But, that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Anyway, guys, don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe. Love one another, and big hugs to all of you.